Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Wajaha and today we are going to talk about another project. This time we're going to talk about Chainlink, and today I wanted to do basically a complete overview of Chainlink, what it is, how it works, the token, and of course just talk about the bull and bear case. So this is going to be a long video. Go and get yourself a snack and sit down, get your notepad out, make some notes, and yeah, let's get straight to it. So we're going to jump into the presentation here. It's like I said, it's going to be a little bit long, but let's talk about Chainlink, what it is and how it works. So Chainlink, by definition, and I got this from their website, Chainlink is a blockchain agnostic protocol for building decentralized Oracle networks that connect smart contracts to the real world, off-chain computation, and cross-chain communication in a trust-minimized and hyper-reliable manner. Now, it's a lot of jargon there. We need to really appreciate and understand every single one of those pieces. And yeah, what actually is Chainlink? Well, Chainlink is an oracle. And an oracle is simply just something that connects a blockchain to the real world. And to really appreciate this, we need to understand what is this problem in the first place. Now, blockchains like Ethereum or Bitcoin or Avalanche or any of your kind of favorite networks these days, they can't actually pull in data or push out data to any kind of external system. They are very limited in what they can actually do. They're binary, and it's this simplicity that actually gives them the security that we need. Now, because of that, it means that if a blockchain wanted to figure out perhaps what the price of Ethereum is or what the weather in London is like, there's no way that blockchain is going to be able to figure that out. They need something external to help them figure this out. And that's where oracles come in. They connect this real world data to a blockchain because a blockchain cannot inherently do it just by definition. Okay. So that's where oracles come into play. And that's where Chainlink comes into play, because Chainlink, what it offers is it offers this ability to connect this real world data to the blockchain. Now, the second issue is that, for example, you could have all this data, whether it's the football score or whether it's the price of an asset or whatever it is really. And you could have this operator that gets this data and then publishes it to a blockchain. Well, the issue is that if you've got one centralized node that's doing this, one centralized organization or company that's doing this, well, there is risk with that, because even if they aren't trying to be dangerous, or even if they're not trying to rug or attack or hack, there can still be biases in some of these things. And therefore, what we need is a decentralized oracle. We need thousands of these nodes that can all, individually provide that data. And there needs to be some sort of system that is able to take that from these thousands of nodes and obviously provide the accurate, reliable data source. And that's basically what Chainlink is. It's essentially a system of thousands of nodes that basically extract data from the real world and connect them to blockchains. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, just drop a comment down below. I'll try and go in a bit more detail. So from a basic perspective, that's pretty much what it is. And this diagram really just kind of illustrates that. So, all these different blockchains like Ethereum, for example, they have all these different smart contracts. And the smart contracts are these things at the bottom here. And essentially, they need to get some of this data from the real world. So what they will do is these smart contracts will put out requests that these node operators will pick up. And these node operators will go and fill out those requests. They will go to the real world, figure out what that data is, and they'll publish it to this oracle, this Chainlink node. And what we'll have is lots of these Chainlink nodes that will operate together as a network. And based on that network, one of those results, or the mean result, will be published to that smart contract. And this, of course, requires fees, because a smart contract is not going to be able to do this by without having to pay. They're going to have to pay, and usually that's where this Chainlink token comes into place. Now, we'll talk about that in a bit more detail later on, but I just wanted to just kind of explain, or I want you to just appreciate kind of how this system really works together. So smart contracts, they need real world data, and they need to pay node operators in order to do so. Now, I believe Chainlink also incentivizes node operators to do this, but that's basically the premise of it. Node operators do the work and they get paid in order to do so. And in Chainlink's case, they get paid with the link token. So you have all of these different networks for all these different smart contracts, and together that makes the entire Chainlink network. Okay. Now, if you actually want to see, some of these nodes in action, you can actually go to this website, market.link. You can actually see the feeds, the nodes, and the data providers that are currently active at the moment. So all these different nodes are getting all this data from the real world and publishing it onto the Chainlink network and two blockchains. You can see all the different nodes by the different networks as well, like Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, and all these other kind of alternative networks, and you can kind of see the fees. You can see how much link rewards are being paid out to these nodes. There's so much information that you can go, so I recommend just going and checking that out yourself, and you'll be able to see a lot of the different stuff that's going on within the actual Chainlink network. Now, I did some research, and basically what I found was that Chainlink basically offers 5 main products. Now, what I wanted to do is just basically go into each of these 5 different products and just kind of explain how they work, where Chainlink comes into it, and I think this will give you a good idea of how Chainlink operates and where the value of Chainlink comes from. So we'll talk about the first product. It's market and data feeds, and basically Chainlink powers the majority of DeFi that we have at the moment. So all of your applications, these smart contracts that do lending and borrowing, mirrored assets, all your stable coins, your asset managements, your futures and options that we've got nowadays is really coming up a lot, Forex, asset prices, and even things like your NFT floor prices. All of this real world data, these numbers, these prices and things like that, the blockchain does not know these values. It's actually Chainlink nodes that are able to get this data off chain and bring it on chain. And on some of these networks, you've got hundreds and thousands of these smart contracts, and all of them need this data to go on chain. And Chainlink is basically what's doing that. So here's an example. Here's the price feed of Bitcoin against US dollar. And imagine you're on a network, you're on a blockchain, and your smart contract wants to know what the price is. And because based on the price, your smart contract might want to liquidate someone if you're on a borrowing and lending platform. All right. Well, in order to figure out the price, you've got all these different nodes here. And all these different node operators will go and fetch this data off chain. They'll go and fetch whatever the price of Bitcoin is against US dollar, and they will kind of post it to this Chainlink network. All right. And essentially the mean of these responses from these nodes basically submits the trusted answer here. So that's pretty much how it works. And you'll be able to see that for all of these different price feeds and data that we need within DeFi, most of it comes from Chainlink. The second product that Chainlink offer is this verifiable source of randomness. And to really appreciate this, I think you need to kind of understand how NFTs work and some of these gaming platforms and things like that. So imagine you've created an NFT platform, a protocol, or project. You've got a 10,000 NFT profile picture series, and you want people to mint this. Well, when people mint this NFT, you want that element of randomness between those attributes and traits, so that the rare ones aren't going to certain wallets. It's completely randomized. This element of RNG needs to come into place, and this distribution of NFTs, you need to be able to verify that it's not being tampered with, and there's proof of randomness. Well, that's what Chainlink does. These nodes will be able to incorporate that proof of randomness and directly offer that to the blockchain. In terms of games, imagine you're playing a game, a PvP game, and your character's fighting with another character. Those hit chances, those drops that you get, those rewards, etc., they all need to be randomized. If you're playing a card game and your card shuffle, your card draw comes, that order of cards needs to be randomized, and there needs to be verifiable proof of that. And that's essentially what Chainlink will be able to do. So this essentially random entity selection is one of the second products that Chainlink offers. And essentially, if you wanted to incorporate this verifiable source of randomness, there's two ways to do it. You've got the subscription model where you create a subscription account and you fund its balance with link tokens. And then basically whenever these contracts require this randomness, some of that link will be taken off you, and that will obviously go to those node validators, those Chainlink nodes. The second way is direct funding. So essentially, if you're a smart contract creator, you can directly pay with Link whenever requests for random values is required. And so it says here you must directly fund your consumer contract and ensure there is enough link tokens to pay for the randomness request. So there's basically two ways for smart contract owners to essentially get their verifiable source of randomness. So that's the second thing that Chainlink does. The third thing is smart contract automation. So, all these smart contract applications like prediction markets, decentralized exchanges, yield optimizer, you can read all of this on the screen yourself. These asset managements and indexes and stuff, well, they need constant oracles to basically automate their smart contracts. So if you're a decentralized exchange, you need to constantly know what the price of these assets are. You need to know what the price of Ethereum is, USDC, your stable coins, etc. And essentially you can actually automate this. If you go to this link that I've actually put there, if you're a smart contract owner, you can go there directly, you can put your link tokens in and essentially have automation across your smart contract for the oracles that you require. Now, an interesting thing is I've just written here that link tokens are used to pay these node operators that we've mentioned before, for these smart contracts, and deposits placed by node operators are required by contract creators. So these smart contract creators, they need the link tokens to pay to these node operators. An interesting thing is the smallest denomination of link is called a joule, which is 1 to the power 18, with that being equivalent to one link. So just like with Ethereum, you've got smaller subdivisions called Gways, Link also has that as well. I just thought that was an interesting thing, and I just include that there. So yeah, smart contract automation, Chainlink can also offer this as well. Now, number 4, I think this is very interesting, especially with the recent happenings within the space, proof of reserves. Now, we have seen the collapse of FTX, and I think one thing that probably would have helped, and one thing that would have helped some of these other hedge funds, 3AC and BlockFi and kind of Celsius and all these other kind of issues that we've had this year, well, there wasn't proof of reserves anywhere. No one really knew what was happening because all of this happened off-chain. Things on-chain we are able to verify. And so proof of reserves is a really important thing that Chainlink can offer. Essentially, if there's an institution, let's say you've got USDC, for example, well, we need to prove that they've got, the right amount of dollars for the amount of USDC that's basically issued. And Chainlink will be able to offer this service of proof of reserves. And essentially, whenever someone interacts with one of these smart contracts related to, for example, USDC, Chainlink will offer this proof of reserve service, and if the reserves are adequate, you will be able to interact with the smart contract. If they're not, then you can't interact with the smart contract. So whenever the reserves increase or decrease, that contract will constantly update. And this is a great way to really prove the reserves are accurate. And I think the whole financial system really needs something like this. And that's essentially where Chainlink comes in. Chainlink will be able to verify off-chain, bring that verification on-chain, and then when you directly interact with the smart contract, you know for sure whether or not those things are accurate. I think that's a fantastic product that they offer there. I think especially with all the stablecoin issues that we've got at the moment, the FUD around Tether, I think this is something that will just solve all of that immediately. And this is another product that Chainlink offers. And the last product, and I think this is also one of the most interesting products, I'm not sure if this is fully out there just yet, but I think this is something that's kind of in development at the moment. So with time, we probably will see this, not there just yet, but this is cross-chain communication. And we hear about this all the time in crypto. You hear about, this cross-chain communication, like Cosmos or Atom does it, Polkadot does it, etc. But what actually are we really talking about here? Well, Chainlink have made it very clear that they're trying to basically make a programmable token bridge. So essentially, you can go from one chain Ethereum to Avalanche just easily. They really want to make this multi-chain DeFi thing a real deal. So whether that's cross-chain yield harvesting or cross-chain collateralized loans, if you want to provide a loan on Avalanche and Ethereum and Polygon at the same time, Chainlink are going to do that, and they've got this thing called CCIP, so cross-chain interoperability protocol, providing a universal open standard for developers to build secure services and applications that can send message transfer tokens and initiate actions across multiple networks. So yeah, I think it would be pretty nice to have this standardized interface, for smart contracts to send messages to any blockchain. I don't think we're there yet. I think this is something that Chainlink are developing at the moment. But if they can pull this off, I think this is pretty huge. I think we all know that we live in a multi-chain world now. There isn't one chain that rules them all. Although, you could argue that Ethereum is the dominator, the dominating network at the moment. But, we do see value across these other networks, and I talk about many of them on the channel. So yeah, I think we are in a multi-chain world, and I think as we progress, we're going to see more of them. So having it cross-chain or having this multi-chain feature is what we need, and a way to kind of connect them all together. If Chainlink are able to make that will happen, it would be pretty interesting. But this is the 5th product that Chainlink offer. And in this slide, I just kind of wanted to demonstrate just, the vast number of projects that are integrated with Chainlink already. Remember, all of these projects, all these smart contracts, they need to have Chainlink in order to pay those node operators. So I think this creates some sort of drive for the Chainlink token. A big question that I had before this is, what is the point of the Chainlink token? Well, it's clear. It's an incentive for the node operators in order to do the work that they need to do. So yeah. Just some network metrics from Q3 of this year. So far the cumulative total value of transaction value enabled from Chainlink is about 6 trillion. There's 15,000 plus developer activities on GitHub. And I think this is probably one of the more interesting ones, is that we've got 1,500 plus projects within the Chainlink ecosystem. And this is constantly growing. And we can see that there's about 4.2 billion data points delivered on chain as well. And you can see this is just parabolic. And I think as DeFi, as these ecosystems continue to grow, many of these ecosystems are still very immature. I think we'll only see the need for Chainlink increase. So yeah, you can see this is exponential growth across all metrics, really. Now let's talk about the Chainlink token. So the Link token, we've kind of appreciated some of the value where it's required. It's required from every single one of these smart contracts in order to kind of get that data that they need. They need Chainlink for it, or the Link token. Now, the Link token has a max supply of $1 billion, $1 billion tokens, sorry. And it was initially allocated in these 3 regions. So I think of it as the team, 30%, the node operators and the ecosystem itself, 35%, and the public token sale. And together that makes the entire $1 billion. $1 billion. I keep saying $1 billion. 1 billion tokens. So there you go. We've got 1 billion max token supply. Currently, we've got about half of that circulating. So half of it is still locked. And we've got a circulating market cap of around 4 billion. Let's round it up to 8 billion. Fully diluted. And that makes Chainlink pretty expensive, or pretty high up there if you look at coin market cap and you kind of compare it to the other crypto assets. I think Chainlink is by far ahead of all the other Oracle networks, but that is something to be aware of. It is also, as of recording, around 85% down from all-time highs. Look, I don't know what's going to happen price-wise. I'm just a random guy on the internet. Look, if it goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down. I have no idea, but today I just kind of wanted to just give you the complete overview of what Chainlink is, and you can decide yourself what you think about it. I'm just here to provide you with the information. One thing that I found interesting was that the total number of addresses that hold Link is been increasing, especially over the last 3, 4, 5 months, we can see that we've got about 750,000 addresses that hold LINK at the moment, which is a fair amount. But I think the more concerning thing for me was just looking at these metrics on the side. And the top holders really having a strong monopoly over the supply of Chainlink, and I think that's possibly something that might be hurting its price appreciation. So a big thing that everyone is talking about now is the new staking that's coming out pretty soon. On the 6th of December it's coming out, and on the 8th of December it'll be for everyone. There's going to be a cap of 7,000 LINK that you can stake per person, with a 25 million LINK max staking total, which will increase over time to, I believe, 75 million. 25 million LINK tokens is currently about 5% of the circulating supply, and of course that will increase to 75 million. So that is a fair amount of the supply kind of being locked up. I believe it's going to be locked up for probably about 9 months to 12 months. So that means you won't be able to access that LINK token. You won't be able to take it out or anything like that. That cost of liquidity is possibly something to be aware of. And I believe the APR is going to be, APY is going to be somewhere around 5%, 4.5%, 5%, somewhere around that mark. And essentially stakers will be able to earn rewards for helping secure the data feed. I believe the first data feed that they're going to offer is the actual price market for ETH/USD. And if you're able to basically alert the system that flagging up if the ETH/USD data feed is incorrect, essentially. And this provides a lot of security, and I think also more importantly this provides some sort of a further economic model for users like you and I really to participate, because beforehand I think LINK was only really important for those who are smart contract creators or smart contract owners. I think most of us aren't really doing that unless you're a developer. So I think now the average everyday Joe is able to actually participate in the economics behind the LINK token as well. So this is basically how it's going to work. So we have all of us everyday users. We use all of our favorite applications. We use Aave, we use Compound, we use Frax, well I do anyway. We use Polychain, Monsters, SNX, GMX, Alpaca Finance, all these different applications that we use. And when we use all of these applications, we get value. And of course, as users, we pay fees. And these fees go to the applications. Now, the application, they need Chainlink oracles because that's how they work. They need to get that real world data. So what they do is they pay the Chainlink network. They pay the Chainlink network, and these nodes are able to obviously get paid in LINK tokens. Now, we've got the stakers as well now. So now the LINK stakers are also participating, and they're helping to provide security for some of these things like data feeds, for example. Now, as a result, some of these applications are also going to be paying some of these stakers, and we have something called the Chainlink build fees as well, which is really, really interesting, that we're going to talk about in a moment. So this is a new feature called Chainlink build. We're going to talk about that in a minute. The second thing is that we have all these different blockchains like Ethereum and Bitcoin and Avalanche and Polkadot and all these different applications, right? And some of these applications are going to help some of these nodes. Now the thing is, if you're a node and you've got this real world data and you want to obviously incorporate that onto the blockchain, well, you have to pay gas fees. And obviously if you're working on networks like Ethereum, your gas fees are going to be pretty high, and that obviously makes your profit as a Chainlink node operator come down. Well, some of these blockchains are working together with Chainlink with a scale program, and essentially they're going to subsidize some of those costs for gas fees, and essentially that makes node operators more profitable, and it makes it more incentives. There's more incentives. It's more attractive to become a node operator, and these are two programs that I think are going to really help scale and grow Chainlink to another level, and of course give that LINK token some more value when we talk about the builder program as well. In terms of the roadmap for Chainlink staking, I think we're going to just start off quite small, and generally over time it will grow to expanding to more feeds, more services. At the start it's going to be small. We're just starting with the ETH/USD feed, but I think with time this is going to grow significantly more. So, apologies. let's talk about these two ecosystem development things that I think are really going to grow the Link token and the Link ecosystem. So Chainlink Build first is a service offered for growing DeFi protocols in exchange for around 3 to 5% of the project's total token supply. In return, the Build program would offer enhanced access to Chainlink services and technical support. So these applications are going to offer 3 to 5% of their token supply to the stakers who help to secure those data points. And that's pretty big, because that means that Chainlink stakers are able to gain and capture some of those tokens that offer us so much value within DeFi, and around 3 to 5% of the token supply is actually quite a large amount, really. So that's Chainlink Build. Now, it's the scale program. Essentially, these layer 1 and layer 2 blockchains are going to cover some of the operating costs for these nodes, and essentially in exchange they will get more advanced Oracle solutions. And I think that is, like I mentioned before, a great thing for these node operators, because it makes it more profitable for them. Those fees, those gas fees that they have to pay in order to kind of upload that data to the chain, it's going to be sorted for them. Now, the Build program already has a number of different protocols that have confirmed their participation. So all these ones listed on the screen right now, some of these are small DeFi applications, they're not that big. But 3 to 5% of their token supply is going to go to the Chainlink stakers, and this is going to grow with time as well. So Chainlink stakers are not only going to gain 4 or 5% in APR from Link, but they're also going to gain some of these different tokens as well. And I think this is huge. Really interesting, and I think a really big thing as well. So yeah, just the same picture as before, really. These DeFi apps are going to give some of their tokens to these Link tokens, Link stakers, essentially. The scale program, as I mentioned, we've got these different blockchains that are going to help to support these Chainlink nodes. So yeah, we've got Avalanche, and we've got some of these layer 2s like Metis, Moonbeam and Moonriver, and these chains have agreed to participate in the scale program. So they will cover some of those gas fees for these Chainlink nodes, and in return they'll get some more advanced feeds from these Chainlink oracles. Now, I think we've covered a lot about the fantastic, interesting thing that Chainlink offers, but we also need to consider the bear case as well. And I think with the bear case, we've got a few things that I've just written on the screen here that I think could potentially affect Link. I think it's always a good thing to think about the pros, but also the cons as well, and kind of use them together to make up your thesis. So Chainlink, the Link token hasn't really been the best performer over the last couple years, really. I think it's actually been bleeding quite a lot against ETH, and a lot of the reasons why I think I'll try and cover now. So the first thing that I want to cover is regulation. I mean, this year we've seen these funds blow up, we've seen DeFi blow up, we've seen the collapse of Terra, we've seen FTX recently. I mean, all of this scrutiny, will come onto crypto. There will be a lot of regulation, and whether or not this affects Link in a bad way is, there's a lot of uncertainty. We're not really too sure what's going to happen. Regulation, I think, will happen, but in terms of how it's going to affect the space, how it's going to affect DeFi, I'm not too sure. I think it's something that could cause some issues. I think if DeFi gets regulated a lot more, and users aren't able to use DeFi the same way they are today, then I think, of course, inherently that will affect Link, because Link works. There's such a strong relationship with DeFi, and I think DeFi growth is pretty. I think it's pretty linked to the growth of Link, actually. So if DeFi goes up, I think Link goes up. If DeFi is regulated, well, how is that going to affect Link? We'll have to wait and see. Competition is another big thing as well, and there's a lot of other Oracle networks around at the moment. I think two of the biggest ones are Band Protocol and API 3. I think these are also two protocols that offer similar sort of services. The thing is, look, if you actually compare these market caps, they're 50 times smaller than Link at the moment. So I don't know how much of the market share they can capture on top of Link. Maybe they'll take some of the market share away. Maybe they'll all be able to grow together. I think some of these other oracles like Band and API 3 will take some of that market share away. You really need to do some research into them. Look, I'm not too familiar with some of them, especially these ones at the bottom. So I can't really comment too much on kind of what they offer. That's something that I'm going to look into as well. But I think, look, Chainlink does have a monopoly at the moment. It is the largest oracle, but there will be competition, and with time, competition drives innovation as well. So competition is a good thing, but it's also important to appreciate kind of some of these smaller ones as well, because they're significantly smaller, and even if they can take some of that market share away, potentially there might even be a disruptive industry leader in one of these. So definitely consider some of the other oracles as well. The third thing that I wanted to talk about is the actual tokenomics as well. Only half of the actual Link supply is in circulation. Whales actually own quite a large amount, and you can see clearly from this, look at the holders. Really, there's such a large amount of Link tokens, within these specific holders. This is something that, you have to be pretty wary about, because this could easily lead to lots of selling pressure. This might be the reason why Link token hasn't been performing very well. The team does own a fair amount of that, and that is something that I think is very, very important when you consider an investment in something like this. So this is something that could go wrong for sure. And I think the last thing, look, the staking system is a new system. We're not too sure how it's going to work. And, there could be errors with it, and that could lead to potentially a failure. If staking doesn't work, will we need a change in the token model altogether? Who knows? I think this is something that's new. We need to see how it works first. And I think if it does work very well, fantastic. But if it doesn't, then, that might lead to some sort of bearish sentiment on Link. And potentially some of those competitors may take away some of that market share. So I think, there might even be a few other bearish cases, or the things to consider with Link that could potentially go in the wrong way. And I think, especially when you're analyzing whether or not you think this is a good thing to invest in, please look at the bear case. So they're just a few of the bear cases that I could think of. Look, overall, Chainlink offers a fantastic protocol. It offers a fantastic service to crypto. We need Chainlink because these smart contracts would be worthless without something like Link. We've got 1,500 plus protocols already incorporated with it. I think Chainlink offers a good service. And at times there has been failures. Sometimes Chainlink feeds have not worked, and it's led to DeFi protocols losing a lot of money. But I think overall, especially with the upcoming staking, I'm pretty excited. I'm going to follow it very closely. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The kind of complete overview of Chainlink. Just to summarize, we've covered what Chainlink is. We've covered some of the different products, the 5 main products that I could see with Chainlink. We've covered some of the interesting incentive programs like the build program and the scale program. We've covered staking, we've covered the tokenomics, and we've covered some of the bear cases as well, including the competition that Chainlink offers. So I think this was a pretty solid overview. If I've missed something, drop it down in the comment section below. Let's get some talking going. Let's talk about Chainlink. Let's talk about some of the pros and cons for it. I wanna initiate some debates about it. And yeah, that's all I've got for you today. A complete overview on Chainlink. I hope you appreciated the video. If you want more of this long form content, let me know as well. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, I'll be back with another video soon.